guys, hi, welcome back once again. My name is Vaishali, and today I'd like to talk about this beautiful picture. Now, this picture with such a profound message had caught my attention so much so that I shared it with other few people. And the reason to share this picture was to get their opinion and their take with regards to the message of this picture. Now, the message on the picture that I've shared says, at times to keep the bonds or relationships intact, primarily attachment figures or relationships intact, one needs to be blind, to be deaf, and to be dumb. I'd once again like to reinforce that it says at times, kabhi kabhi. Now I'd shared this image with a few people from the age group of 18 years to 70 years. And the responses or the reactions that I received were something like this. Someone said it's a false life that you're living in such a relationship where you cannot be honest and be open. It's a compromised quality of relationship. It's an unhonest relationship. Someone else also said, we all do it all the time. Someone also said that at times it's much safer to be blind, to be deaf, and to play dumb, given the relationship equation. Someone also said they completely agree with the thought and that they have been doing it for years. There was yet somebody who said, I agree with this 50%. Someone also said, not at all. This is the reason for all the dysfunction. For all the right things were not paid attention to, were not communicated in the appropriate manner at the right time. Someone also shared with regards to this picture that it shows lack of freedom and responsibility or accountability towards one's own experiences. Someone also sent the message that if those qualities are harmless and the goodness of the other outweighs the bad ones or the bad qualities, like short temper or a drinking problem, then one can choose to be involved in such a relationship. There was somebody who also said that in every relationship some adjustments are needed. But in order to maintain the relationship bond, clear communication is needed, and that there's no need to turn deaf, dumb, or blind. There was somebody else who also said that a little compromise is all right, so long as one is not overstepping one's boundaries and the boundaries of the others. Someone also added with regards to this picture that such relationships are obligatory relationships. ऐसे रिश्ते एहसानों के या कर्ज के होते हैं. And when the relationships are obligatory, they lack openness and honesty. They also added that in such relationships, one has to prioritize for themselves as to how important are these obligatory relationships in their life, in your life, and what important roles do such obligatory relationships play in one's life. One has to figure that out for themselves. Looking at the picture, somebody also said that such relationships are avoidant relationships, wherein things are brushed under the carpet and nobody talks about the real issues. Nobody is willing to look at the reality of the relationships. They also went to add that in these relationships, people do not have the capacity to be honest and even to digest honesty. There was somebody else who also said that these are the relationships where people don't feel seen, they don't feel heard, or even understood. These are the relationships where freedom of expression and accountability for one's own participation in the relationship is scary. These are the relations where people feel misunderstood and disconnected. Someone also shared with regards to the message of this picture that these are the relationships where people experience loneliness despite being with somebody, because these relationships lack attunement for the other person's presence with regards to being seen, with regards to being heard, and with regards to being understood is missing. These are the relationships which does not welcome vulnerability, openness, honesty, and curiosity. Someone also said that these are the relationships where people tolerate each other. They are not in companionship, but they are in tolerance-ship. Someone also said that this picture represents relationships that are threatening. For if one is blocking off their three senses, how much of a common sense and how much of a presence are they putting into the relationship? Are they even present in the relationship, or have they walled off themselves and their faculties that make sense from the relationship that they are in? These are the relationships where people do not find a support system. Someone also said that if one is literally blocking off their senses, their sense organs, they are quite naturally blocking off their common senses as well. And blocking off our common senses can only lead to dysfunctions, can only lead to maladjustments. Someone also shared that this picture is the perfect representation of lack of emotional and relational intelligence, a lack of effective, efficient, and appropriate communication skills. Not just on the part of one partner, but with everyone involved who's a part and parcel of such a relationship equation. With regards to the sharing of this picture, someone also shared that it might mean that you do not wish to listen to nonsense, speak nonsense, and to even see or witness nonsense. And yet, it does reveal that you're surrounded by nonsense, which you're choosing to ignore. And yet, subconsciously, in such relationships, one has chosen to be surrounded by nonsense, which makes one shut down their senses. The question here to ask is, why? Why are you surrounded by nonsense? And here I'd personally like to say that since most of us consciously do not wish to be surrounded by nonsense or engage in nonsense, quite naturally we are operating from a subconscious level. And since our subconscious operates on familiarity, from familiarity, it probably isn't the first time that we're operating like this as well. We probably have learned to shut off our senses, and we probably have been doing it for a very long time. Someone also added that we may not have strong principles and values which we feel are worthy of expressing and communicating. Well, that's an interesting thought to ponder upon. Someone interestingly also questioned, why be in such a relationship at all when you don't want to see the reality of the other? When you don't want to hear the reality of the other, and when you don't want to speak and share your own thoughts, feelings, and emotions. And what if in that kabhi kabhi ka equation, which is at times ka equation, shutting down and walling off happens 60 to 70 to 80% of the times, when disconnection happens more often than connection. Someone also said that such relationships are reactive relationships and not responsive and response-able relationships. Someone also said it's a fantastic strategy if you're in a relationship with somebody who has narcissistic personality disorder, or somebody who's a psychopath or a sociopath. If there is no way out to get out of such relationships, and yet one should make an attempt to get out of these relationships as soon as possible. Someone also mentioned that in such a relationship equation or in such relationship dynamics, one person or a few people feel that they are more competent than the other or the others, that they know it better, do it better than the other or the others. Someone also mentioned that such relationships are the breeding grounds for growing resentment, for fostering contempt in relationships, within relationships. Someone also added that such relationships can be the breeding ground for extramarital affairs, for affairs out of relationship. Because at the end of it, we all want to be heard, we all want to be seen, and we all want to be understood. Somebody also said that if I don't read the message, it's talking about Gandhiji's three monkeys. Don't speak ill, don't see ill, don't hear ill. and it might have a positive ring to it till it's stretched a little too far, till one goes in denial of their own reality, till one is not willing to see, hear, or even speak their reality, which in a way can be termed as toxic positivity, which is a denial coping mechanism to avoid confronting the real situation, to avoid dealing with the reality of the real situation. There was somebody else who also shared, whether you choose to speak or you choose to suppress and repress, whether you see and communicate or choose to turn a blind eye, and whether you choose to listen attentively or you choose not to listen and turn a deaf ear, both sides will have a cost price. It's for us to choose as to what cost price are we willing to pay, not just for today, but even in the longer run. And in my personal understanding, since there are no free lunches and there's a price to be paid for everything, for every choice and for every decision, it's our job, it's our responsibility and accountability to choose wisely, to choose discerningly. It's our job to learn to respond and get less reactive. And the picture that we began with reminds me of two quotes. One by Maya Angelou, wherein she had said, "Love liberates and heals. Everything else is bondage, slavery, and trauma." And the other quote is by Esther Perel, wherein she says that it's the quality of our relationships that determine the quality of our lives. So I'd like you to pause and reflect as to what resonates for you through this picture. And I'd really appreciate if you can share your own perspective with regards to this picture. Please take out a little time to reflect and to share your perspective with regards to this picture. And I'll see you once again the next week. Till then, stay tuned in. And guys, if you do like the contextual content of these videos, please do like, share, and subscribe.